Presbyterian pastor Fred Rogers had a magical career, and he started Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. The show began on February 19th, 1968, and went all the way through February 20th, 1976, and then again from August 21st, 1979, until August 31st, 2001. The final episode was December 20th, 2000, and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood had 900 episodes, 31 seasons, and spanned 4 decades. The importance of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was to convey to children their acceptance and to show them that someone cared about them just as they are. He accepted people for who they were and used his shows to promote peace, harmony, love, grace, and acceptance. The famous song that appeared on every episode asked the question, "Won't you be my neighbor?" The resounding answer to that question was always yes. Those who watched the show knew how awesome it was to be Mr. Rogers' neighbor. And I want to share with you one of Mr. Rogers' neighbors and his experience with Fred.
We wrote because Jeff was going to have a spinal fusion and be in what they call a halo,
Cast, a halo
metal
cast.
rim, and then cast on his shoulders and bolted
All the way down his
together.
trunk.
And, yeah,
We
he may
weren't
not
sure.
have survived the surgery. And so we said, what would you like to do? This is going to be a really big task for you, and so we want to kick it off with something that would be really special.
Mr. Rogers?
Hey, Jeff. I'm glad to see you.
Hi.
Thank you very much for coming by. Can you tell my friends what it is that made you need this wheelchair?
Sure. Well, when I was about 7 months old, I had a tumor, and it broke the nerves to tell my hands and legs what to do.
I see.
And I got a wheelchair when I was 4 years old.
That was your first one when you were 4.
Uh-huh.
He told Jeff before they started that they would have a chat and then sing a song together.
I think he said we might sing a song. I
Yeah,
remember because
yeah.
I was sort of surprised. What, he's going to start singing a song? Well, this is totally not even what song.
It's you I like. It's not the things you wear. It's not the way you do your hair. But it's you I like. The way you are right now. The way down deep inside you. Not the things that
I do.
not your fancy chair. That's just beside you. But it's you I like. Every part of you. Your skin, your eyes, your feelings, whether old or new. I hope that you'll remember, even when you're feeling blue, that it's you I like. It's you yourself. It's you. It's you I like. And it is you I like, Jeff.
Thanks.
And there must be times when you do feel blue.
Uh-huh.
I'm not feeling blue right now, though.
Me neither.
I'm so glad that you came today.
Thanks.
I remember asking one of the staff people that was there, well, what do you think? Did it go okay? So, don't. This is good. This is good.
He had his surgery, he survived. Certainly Mr. Rogers had an impact on who Jeff became, his sense of self.
Mr. Rogers made every one of his neighbors feel welcomed and cherished. When Jesus was asked this morning in our scriptures by the teacher of law, "Who is my neighbor?" Jesus told him a parable, and flipped the cultural barriers, distinctions, prejudices, and racism upside down. We need to know something about the Jews and their neighbors, the Samaritans. The Samaritans were offspring of a Jew and a Gentile. Either one of their parents was from the Jewish Israel background, and the other was from a non-Jewish background. Regardless, the Jews viewed these people as half-breeds, unacceptable in their culture. They looked down on them, they avoided them, they didn't include them in temple worship, and they didn't have anything to do with them, especially calling them a neighbor. Then Jesus uses their race as the hero of his story. Jesus begins with this terrible tragedy that falls upon a man, and he is left on the side of the road needing someone to come alongside him and pull him out of his situation. I had this parable lined up for a couple weeks now as we've gone through some of the parables of Jesus leading up to this. And last week we asked ourselves, have God show us the Lazaruses in our life? And so we left last Sunday with that question as we went by, and it did not take long for God to bring one for me. On Monday, while I was wrapping up here in the office, Lynn Tucker called me and said that there was a man needing assistance. Lynn was here to change the sign like she does faithfully every Monday, and I said, well, Lynn, there's, Maddie Williams is here. Let's see what they can do. And so Lynn directed the guy to Maddie Williams, and there was a lady there working, and she came out of her office, and she started helping him. I kind of cleaned up things, and on my way out, I saw them outside of the office talking and gathering, so I went over there to make sure things were okay. And Lynn was there, and then I realized that Maddie Williams was doing some paperwork and asking him some questions. Lynn went back on her journey with the sign, and then I got in my car and left. And as I drove, I knew the man was taken care of, but I got to the Safety Harbor Motel, and it's just past Nona's, and then verse 31 and 32 hit me. The priest and the Levite passed on the other side. I'm sure they had their reasons. Maybe they didn't want to be considered unclean. But because they would touch this man and interact with this man, they would be ceremonially unclean, and whatever responsibilities they had for that week or that month would completely be nullified. Maybe they had a lot on their plate, like me. I had laundry to do, kids to feed, a wife that was home early prepping for a colonoscopy, and the list goes on. And they passed him by. I felt that was what I was doing. So sure, I could justify, he's in the hands of a capable organization and things will be okay. But the Samaritan in the story of Jesus went above and beyond. He went to a motel to help someone. He went to meet his needs where he needed. So I did a U-turn and went back to church. And when I arrived back at church, the man was sitting outside. I found out his name was Brett. And he was waiting on the steps, and I went into Maddie Williams' office and started talking with the lady that was there. I told her she had started a conversation with people on the phone to try and get him assistance, and she went from calling homeless shelters to being turned away from them, and they said, well, call the sheriff department. So we called the sheriff department. They were tied up, and then they said, well, you could just call the state and they can figure it out. And she hung up in her frustration, knowing that this man needed help now. He didn't need the state to figure something out months and months later. Then David Hale from Maddie Williams came into the office, and he's the leader of the organization. And I told him about a discount that we get at the Safety Harbor Motel, because I knew this man needed a few nights to stay. Well, David knew that they could offer 2 nights and we could offer 1 night. So as I went to the motel to figure out if they were even available or what was going on there, Brett filled out the paperwork in the office with David and the other assistant. Once everything was in the clear and we knew that he was able to stay there, David and I drove together with him to meet the lady and talk about the things that he needed to do at the motel. David and I signed all the paperwork needed and kind of tag team things in a very special way. He told us that Maddie Williams was actually looking for a place where they, as an organization, could put people in stay for a little bit. Because a lot of the shelters require a lot of different things and a lot of different rope in order to stay there. So Maddie Williams now has a connection to when they have people that need homes, need a place to stay for a couple nights. They now have the connection with Safety Harbor Motel. And so God used that interaction, and then David took Brett's food request, and Maddie Williams was able to supply him a phone that he needed because he was without one, and he had 3 nights rest. And I had the opportunity to live out this parable, to meet a neighbor that I may never meet again, that I may never see him. God also connected him with Maddie Williams, and Maddie Williams with other future resources. David and I were able to work together, and God did an amazing thing on that Monday. It was a pretty incredible experience that I almost missed because I almost passed on the other side. There are opportunities for each of us. We just need to be ready to not pass on the other side. We need to know who wants to be our neighbor. God will lead people to us. God wants us to have the heart as Mr. Rogers, a welcoming heart that doesn't look at a person and judge, but stops and gets to know someone. We need to have that same vision that Mr. Rogers and the Samaritan had by seeing people as a person, regardless of their situation that they might be in, regardless of the situation and circumstance that have crippled them in this life. God can use us to make a difference. God can use us to completely change their situation. God uses this place because everyone is united in not only financial resources, but other resources and help so that we can collectively have an impact on our community. We never know the impact that we can have in a person's life, and we never know how long it will last. Mr. Rogers won several awards throughout his career, and then in 1997, he won the Lifetime Achievement Emmy. And this is the first couple minutes of that presentation.
Please welcome Jeffrey Erlinger. It is. I'm so glad to see you. Oh, thank you for coming. My pleasure. It is. What a surprise. It's an honor to be here tonight, to be part of your this proud moment. You know, when you tell people that it's you I like, we know that you really mean it. And tonight, I want to let you know that on behalf of millions of children and grown-ups, it is you that I like.
Support me as I say my few words?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, to Jeff Erlinger and all of the wonderful neighbors who have grown up with our neighborhood, this This was, of course, completely unexpected, and what a wonderful gift, and I thank the Academy for allowing this to happen. Jeff and I haven't been together for a while. We met when he was, I think, 4 years old. 5. Such good neighbors. Well, this is what I wanted to tell you before I knew that I'd have this great gift tonight. Fame is a 4-letter word. And like tape or Zoom or face or pain or life or love, what ultimately matters is what we do with it. I feel that those of us in television are chosen to be servants. It doesn't matter what our particular job. We are chosen to help meet the deeper needs of those who watch and listen, day and night.
As he said, Jeff and Fred had not seen each other since the time that he was a boy, but the connection and the strength of that connection remained all of those years. We can look at people, when we look at people as our neighbors, and we strip away everything else that might cloud our thinking, that might come inside of our judgment or thought on them, God can use us. We need to be ready for God to use us this week. We need to be ready to go that extra mile for someone, and we need to be ready to meet their circumstances and where they are, and we can change their life forever. God is ready to use all of us, and the only question we need to ask is the same one Fred does. Do you want to be my neighbor? Amen.